This is Ace. He's a gelding, 3-year-old gelding by a son of Dash to Fame and out of a cut and bred mare. Um, the owners they started him in his 2-year-old year and have been riding him, and they're gonna do the barrel futurities on him. So he's just here to kind of get that cow horse handle on him, and so we're gonna show you how we work him today. So when I got this colt, he was recently gelded, and so he had some trouble focusing on me, and he was always kind of looking around, and so I had to do even though he's already started, I had to kind of reestablish his groundwork and kind of get him where he was focused on me and like knew what my pulls meant and knew what I was looking for when I put pressure on him. So a good way for me to start out a ride with him is to kind of reestablish all these groundwork fundamentals that I put on all my colts. Just kind of get his attention back on me and warm his mind up before we start riding, because a lot of times you can just get on one pretty cold and start riding them, and you're just asking for a fight that way. So he's pretty stiff on this side, so I'm going to try to get that out of him before I get on him and ride him, so we don't end up having a problem in the saddle. There. Whoa. That's okay. I'm just trying to get his attention on me right now. So if he doesn't give it to me the first time, then we're just going to work until he does. There. And there's some commotion going on in the round pen, so he's kind of watching that. It's kind of just a distraction, and we're not going to... That's okay. A little overreactive there. We're not failing because he wants to be distracted. We're using that as an opportunity to teach him to refocus. So we're going to work through it. And I'm trying to get him to go around here with his nose kind of tipped in a little bit and his hindquarters farther away from me. And so I'm taking a hold of him, and then whenever he gets soft in my hand, I'm letting him go. But it's important, I really want him to know that he can go forward whenever I'm reaching for his face, because he's going to have to do that when I'm asking him to be soft. Whoa. There. There. I like that. Good. He was really bad about taking a bit when I first got him, and I had to do some things to get him to not run off. One thing I really like to do on taller horses is to bring their head down here where I can work on it, where I can put a bridle in them. I think the ladies that usually bring me barrel horses, I think they really appreciate this, because usually your barrel horses are pretty tall and your barrel racers are not so tall. So I think they really appreciate it whenever the horse brings their head down here and you can put that bridle on without having to chase their head up. It's just a good manner too. It's just good manners. Okay, so we've got him warmed up. He's got his mind on us, and or on me, and I've got him tight here, so I'm going to go ahead and get on him. He went to walk off. I'm just going to gather him back up, bring him back to me. There. That's okay. We just work on things as they show up. So I'm going to work on getting him back right here. That's good. I think it's really important to have your barrel horses come back to you. I don't know a whole lot about barrel racing, but I just know what I see, and I try to work on that on the horses that the barrel horses that I get in. I try to get them to come back to you, and I try to get them to be mindful of the rider, and I think those are little things that just make life better. There, okay. You know, and so when you're riding these running bred horses and stuff, and you're trying to put kind of that cow horse handle on them, it's important to know that they're not going to do everything just like your cutting and cow horse bred colts are going to do. So you ride the horse that you have, and you ask them to do things in a way that they can succeed. And you know, sometimes it's not, you have to recognize the try. Sometimes it's not so much that you actually get what you're looking for. You know, like if I ask this colt to step over in his front end, it may not be a perfect turnaround. Okay, I mean, that's pretty good. That's pretty soft, and he's stepping over in his front end. But his hind end might be moving around or something like that. You know, something that's just not, you know, desirable for a cow horse. But the important thing is that he's giving his body where we're asking him to give, and he's coming to the feel. And that translates to other parts of riding. There. So we're still just kind of warming up, and as we're warming up, I'm thinking about just making sure that I have the different parts of the body, have control of them, and if he doesn't want to give them up, then we just work on that for a minute, and we just get him where he's willingly giving us those parts that we're asking for, that we're isolating. There's your hindquarters. We already got the shoulders, but I'm going to ask for them again. Shoulders. Okay. Let's see if we can't get the ribs. Get him to give those ribs. There. Release. you know, on horses like him, really like to just let them walk on a loose rein, let them just relax in between working on things. It just lets them calm down a little bit, you know, gives them a little break in between lessons or parts of the lesson. There, we saw a little booger, but he came right back to me, so no big deal. Okay, now we're going to try to get this hip. Isolate that hip, good. Isolate these front shoulders, good. Isolate the ribs right here. There. A lot of these horses, they don't, a lot of these horses that people start and then bring, they don't really know how to take your feet. So that's something that we have to work on, is, you know, getting them comfortable with my feet. I have to let them, they need to learn that your feet don't mean to go faster. Your feet mean to come back to me. My feet mean, hey, listen to what I want. And I use my feet in different ways for what I want. And, you know, I think your whole life you're told to use your hands and reinforce with your feet. I like to use my feet and reinforce with my hands. That's kind of the way that I have to look at it, because I want to pick up their ribs with my feet. I want to push their shoulders around with my feet. I want to release my feet and then stop, or, you know, or slow down. I want to hold them with my feet when we're working a cow. I want my feet to mean a whole lot to them, and I want them to be able to know what I mean with my feet when I use them in certain situations. So we've walked around for a minute. I'm going to trot him. I'm just going to squeeze with my legs. I'm going to squeeze into my hands. There we go. Okay. So I'm not really holding his face. I'm kind of just letting him go into my hands. I'm just pulling him a little bit. If he speeds up or he's going faster than I want, I'm just going to steer him into a small circle. And smaller the better, really. And whenever he slows down and comes back to me, like right there, slow trot, I'm going to let him out. Isn't that nice? That's really nice. I like that. This is really good for these running bred horses, because, you know, they need to gather themselves up. I think I've heard a little bit about running bred horses having kind of weak backs. I think it's kind of the way that they're worked. I mean, I'm sure that it's partly the way that they're bred. You know, cow horses, reiners, they have really full backs because they stay round all the time. Barrel horses, you know, they're running and extending their whole body. And I think their backs, you know, it's easy for their backs to get kind of weak. So this riding them, having them collected, is probably going to be really good for his back. You know, help build those muscles up and help him hold himself together. And hopefully even, you know, help avoid some soreness, you know, and some, you know, some future issues, lameness issues, maybe if he's strong in his back and can hold himself up. So this is pretty nice. So I think I'm going to squeeze him into a lope. And I use my outside leg to squeeze him into a lope. I'm going to let him go. There, good. There. I'm going to let him go with my hands into that lope. It's okay if he wants to break down. He's just looking at cows. I'm gonna squeeze him. There, good. Good. And gather him up after I get him into that lope. If he gets to going fast, it looks like all he wants to do is slow down today. If he gets to going too fast though, then I'm just gonna steer him with my outside rein and my outside leg. I'm gonna push his shoulders into a smaller circle. He slowed down, that was good. A lot of this stuff is about accountability, so I want him to stop looking around, and I want him to start holding himself up and in a lope. I want him to stay in the gait that I put him in and stop looking around. So I'm going to push him through that balkiness. There. Good. It's pretty nice. I don't mind him being slow and wanting to slow down at all, but I want him to carry that gait. Very good. Good. He's getting a little faster. I'm just going to steer him. I'll take the opportunity to steer him. Put him back on that big circle. Use my inside leg to push him out a little bit. Inside leg and outside rein to push him out a little bit. I don't want to change leads. I don't want to break down. I just want him to guide. There. There. All right. Now, I'm not going to ask him to stop, but I'm just going to ask him to softly break down. And I'm just going to quit riding and kind of lightly pull on the hands. That's good. There. I want him to get soft. I want him to soften all the way down. There. I might even push his hip in. And then release him. I'll let him walk and think about that for a minute. Now we'll go back to the other way. Stop. Get a little bit of backing up right here. And I don't want to pull him back. I want to set my hands and I want to use my legs. I'm going to use my feet to create some energy here and get him to back softly. When he's backing softly, I'll release my hands. Right now, I'm not pulling him back. I'm just setting my hands and I'm using my feet to make him come back to my hands. There. There, I'm going to pull him through. Good. He crosses over really well. And let him look at that bubble machine. Let him walk for a minute, and then we're going to trot. Now keep in mind that earlier when we were doing groundwork and stuff, this is the side that he's the stiffest too. And every horse has a stiff side, so this is the one he's stiffer on the left. So we're just going to deal with whatever comes our way. I'm going to squeeze him up into a trot. Good. Good, that was really soft. Now, he doesn't want to trot as slow on this side as the other side, so I'm going to steer him until I can get him to kind of slow down. There, that's a little bit slower. That's pretty good. And I try to squeeze him with my legs and get him to come to me with his face. There. Get him to come. I make contact with my hands and I squeeze with my legs. And he should come back to me. If he speeds up, I steer him. I'm going to walk just to re-emphasize that I want him to stay slow. Good. I'm going to let him walk for a second and think about that. All right. That was pretty good. Let's lope. So I'm going to try to get him set up as best I can to lope off in the correct lead. Use my outside leg to squeeze on him. Kind of have him soft. I don't want him to just fall over to the left. So I'm going to try to get him straight. And stood up, feeling before I ask him to do it. So think about where you are in your arena when you ask him to lead for a lead departure. You know, I don't want to ask him when I'm facing the fence because I don't want him to just dive off to that direction. So I'm going to get on the straightaway. There. That's okay. You just looked at that banner and some other things. So he wants to kind of dive into this left side. I'm just going to use my outside rein or inside rein and my inside leg and hold him out. I'm going to push him out. There. So he got off my inside leg and my inside rein, and I'm going to release him when he gets off. There. Good. So he's not changing leads, he's just getting off of the pressure. That's good. 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 Squeezing with my inside leg. There. 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 You can see how I'm kind of pushing him over with my inside rein, my inside leg. There. And I'm balancing with my outside rein. I'm kind of pulsing it a little bit. I didn't ask him to change leads. That's all him. So I'm just going to break him down and get him soft. Set him up for that left lead again. And squeeze him off into it. Let him go into it. There. If he wants to dive, I'm just going to get him and guide him out again. There. 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 Good. You know, maybe just even lope some squares. You know, just go straight. Keep him straight. There. He's a little scared of something in there. You know, sometimes they might see some boogers in one side that they didn't see in the other side. That's okay. So, he's getting a little unruly. So I'm just going to make him come over here. That's okay. We'll just address things as they come. Like I said earlier, he didn't really come here liking you to put your feet on him. And so sometimes he doesn't really understand whenever I use a little more force, you know, like the spur or something like that, and he takes a little bit of offense to it. And he was started as a stud, and So he's just kind of got some muscle memory, some, you know, and he's only been a gelding for about a month, so he's still just kind of learning how to be a gelding, you know, and he's still just got a little bit of trained response for things that he takes offense to. So I'm going to set him up again. There. I kind of let him dive in that time just to make it a little easier for him, but I'm going to fix it. Like I said earlier, you just kind of got to work with what you have sometimes. If that's the way he's going to go in the left lead, then right now we're going to let him do it. But my goal here is for him to just lope around on a loose rein without diving in. There. That's good. Good. Put him back on a circle right here. There. We're not going to make a big deal about him being scared of things. There, he wants to break down, that's good. I'd much rather one want to break down than try to run off with me. Good. Good. See how loose we're keeping the reins now? So I had to hold him back a little bit earlier to make my point. Well, he got my point. So now he's willingly guiding around on a loose rein. There. There. So this side, we didn't have to steer him in as much because he wanted to shoulder in. We had to steer him out more on this side. There. 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 Just pick him up, put him down. Pressure and release. It's classic. I didn't ask him to change leads. I want him to get his shoulders off. Okay, I'm going to re-emphasize that at a slower speed so he figures out, hey, that's what to tell him, hey, this is what I want. Okay, I don't want you to change leads. So I'm going to set him up for it again. Good. It takes a little bit to get him on that left lead, but we'll get it. It'll be easier in time. Don't make a big deal about it, and it won't be a big deal. There. 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 Okay, now I'm going to steer him in a smaller circle. He's starting to speed up. I don't want him to drop that shoulder in there, so I'm going to steer him and push him. Sometimes, if they want to do something, the best way to do it is kind of like a little bit of reverse psychology. Well, if you want to do that, then how about I just make you do it, but you have to do it the way I want you to. There. There. Stand up. Let's make this circle smaller. And he's getting hot. It's hot out here. And he's going to figure out that he's having to work a little too hard. There. There. It's a little bit less work to be out here on this circle. On this big circle. There. There. We'll let him slow down right over here because he's kind of shying away from this corner. You just have to chip away at these things. We may not get him to lope perfect circles today, but we just work on it a little bit at a time. You know, he's getting pretty hot. It's hot out here. So we're just going to do what we can. There. All in all, that's a pretty good day.